Christian news this week. Christians welcome opposition plans to boost foreign aid. Violence against church buildings in Indonesia's Aceh province. And the earliest known draft of the King James Bible in existence.
This is InFocus Christian News and Current Affairs.
Hello, welcome to Record in Focus. Stay with us because by the end of this half hour, you are going to be a better informed person. For instance, you'll learn that beautiful people can benefit from ugly food. I bet you didn't know that, Sybil.
Well, hello to you too, Kent.
Oh, yes, hello.
And no, I didn't know that, but I'm sure my life will be immeasurably improved now that I do.
No doubt. You'll also meet the incredibly fit and good-looking Gloucester Mountain Man, and thanks to Sybil Coutet, among others, you'll also gain an insight into news and current events affecting Christians around the world. So for now, it's all yours, Sybil.
Thanks, Kent. Christian Campaign Alliance, Micah Australia, has welcomed the federal opposition's announcement that, if elected, a Labor government would restore $30 million of funding to the international aid budget. During the last 3 years, Australian governments of both major parties have slashed foreign aid, falling short of their previous commitment to raise it up to 0.5% of GDP by 2015. Labor's change of heart comes after Micah Challenge's annual Voices for Justice event. Christian activists and representatives of various aid agencies met with politicians of all stripes at Parliament House, urging them to make global poverty a national priority.
When God blesses a nation, those blessings aren't to be kind of held in and protected selfishly. They're actually to be used for the benefit of others. So I think calling Australia to live up to that sense of being a nation that has been blessed in order to bless others is something that we want as a Christian movement to do.
The current debate over penalty rates for weekend workers has a religious freedom aspect, according to Anglican leaders in Melbourne. Dr. Gordon Preece, who chairs the Church's Social Responsibilities Commission, says the move to cut Sunday penalty rates ignores the community preference for Sunday as a shared day of rest and a shared day of worship. He said that preserving penalty rates protects the whole community. However, Dr. Preece did not address the impact of Sunday penalty rates on the religious freedom of business owners, employees and customers who observe other holy days, such as Friday or Saturday. The discussion in Australia is paralleled by a debate in the UK over dropping restrictions on Sunday trading. Religious sensitivities have again spilled over into violence in the Indonesian province of Aceh. 1 person was killed, 4 were injured, and 4 churches were burned during violent anti-Christian protests. According to Release International, a hardline Muslim youth group has claimed that 21 churches in Aceh were built without proper permission and is demanding the local government demolish the buildings. Christian Solidarity Worldwide reports that although authorities agreed to demolish at least 13 churches, the hardliners took matters into their own hands, setting fire to the offending buildings. Indonesia's President Joko Widodo has condemned the violence and called for calm. About 98% of Aceh's citizens are Muslim. The province has special dispensation to apply Sharia law within its territory. The tomb of the biblical patriarch Joseph in the West Bank has been firebombed by Palestinian protesters as renewed violence breaks out in Israel and Palestine. According to Religion News Service, debates over access to Jerusalem's Temple Mount appear to be connected to violent protests and a series of stabbings of Jews by Palestinian attackers. 34 Palestinians and 7 Israelis have been killed, leading to accusations of settler violence and a heavy-handed response from the Israeli military. Some commentators suggest a third intifada or Palestinian uprising is imminent. Regional and international leaders have condemned the violence and called for peace talks. The continued strong polling of Dr. Ben Carson in America's presidential race has led to speculation about his Seventh-day Adventist faith. While church leaders have made it clear that the denomination will take no official stand on any particular party or candidate, it has not stopped individual Adventists from voicing their opinions. Some are clearly in favour of Dr. Carson's pro-family views and flat tax plans and are drumming up support. Others have questioned whether he accurately reflects the distinctive Adventist view on issues such as gun control or the separation of church and state. The disadvantages of a worldwide church structure have been revealed at Adventist meetings in the US, with the incoming treasurer warning the church stands to lose millions due to global economic turmoil. Juan Prestol Puesan said that a strengthening US dollar, combined with struggling economies elsewhere, helps to explain why General Conference net assets are more than $15 million down from last year. As Adventism continues to grow strongly in Africa, Latin America and Asia, its financial base in North America is becoming less important. However, according to Adventist Review, the treasurer was upbeat at the church's annual council, saying the challenging situation is an opportunity to put trust in God. For centuries, a handwritten notebook has been buried in the archives of a library in Cambridge, UK, unnoticed and unappreciated. But thanks to a curious visiting scholar, its true value has now been revealed. According to The Guardian, the 70-page notebook is a working document originally owned by one of the translators of the original 1611 King James Bible. It contains biblical commentary and notes on the Bible's original Hebrew and Greek, making it the earliest known draft of the King James Bible, the English language's most widely read book. The monetary value of the notebook is likely to be high, especially when you consider that a first edition 1611 KJV can sell for as much as $400,000. After July's Seventh-day Adventist Church vote not to allow the full ordination of women pastors, Religion News Service reports that at least 12 male pastors in the US have requested that their ministerial credentials be downgraded to match those of their female colleagues. Commissioned pastors in the Adventist Church carry out much the same duties as their fully ordained counterparts and are paid under the same salary scale. However, commissioned pastors are only recognised within their territory, not the worldwide church, and cannot be conference presidents. The gesture of solidarity with women commissioned pastors comes as Adventist leaders at General Conference headquarters ask church regions to respect the vote on ordination taken earlier this year. No doubt the delivery driver thought it was strange to bring her pizza right into the middle of a church service in Ohio. But what happened next was even more amazing.
We've been teaching our church this last month about being generous, and so we did something special for you today. We took up a special offering for a tip for you. So that's your tip, $9. This is a gift we're going to give you, okay? All right, so from our 3 services combined, we collected this much money. This is $1,000. I wouldn't put you on the spot and ask you to give a speech, but I hope it's $1,046 to be exact, and I hope that this can help you. I don't know what's going on in your life, or
It will help a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
And that's the news for this week. Now, Kent, I know America has a great culture for tipping, but that's just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is amazing. I mean, look, I could be critical, I guess, and about how that poor woman was turned into a bit of a public spectacle, but it certainly was a very generous act, wasn't it? And well, look, no doubt she was very generously compensated for any embarrassment she might have had.
Yeah, I somehow doubt she'll be complaining.
Hey, stay with us. I can't promise you $1,000, but you'll certainly be better informed about Australian politics and so much more if you stick around until after the break. We'll see you soon.
Travel back in time to ancient civilizations through this bi-monthly magazine, Archaeological Diggings. Don't miss an issue. Subscribe online or ask for Archaeological Diggings at your local newsagent.
Hello, welcome back. And now joining us from the nation's capital is the Managing Director of the Australian Christian Lobby, Lyle Shelton. How are you, Lyle?
I'm very well, thanks, Kent. Good to be with you again.
Now, Lyle, a little while back we spoke with your colleague David Hutt about the closure of Zoo Weekly magazine. And just recently we've heard that Playboy magazine says they'll no longer display nudes on their pages. Then we have the Hyatt hotel chain saying that they're going to cut their pornography TV channel. Is this a win in the war against pornography?
Yeah, it is to a large degree, Kent, and we've also seen the Hilton and the Marriott hotels also remove porn from their rooms globally. So we're certainly making progress, but I think we all realise that the big battle is the internet. And unfortunately, there's a lack of will on both sides of politics, particularly on the right of politics, to address internet filtering. We have the technology to do this, but not the political will to keep kids safe and to provide a clean feed. But that's certainly the next battle, but it's great to see some progress.
Yeah, and I guess you'd have to say the internet is a much less regulated market than, say, magazines or television is.
Yeah, it is, but it's taken a long time to convince or to get rid of magazines like Zoo, for instance, which were being sold by Coles and Woolworths. So it needed relentless campaigning, but we do really need to shift our focus now to the internet so that our kids can be kept safe when they're on their smartphones and their computers. And quite frankly, yeah, this is not a good thing for adults either.
Sure, okay. On to another topic, Lyle. Poker machines. This is something that you've been quite passionate about. Do you think this is an issue that the community is getting on board with?
Well, it's a slow process. The ABC this week screened a documentary called Ka-Ching, which detailed the addictive nature of poker machines and how they are actually rigged to ensure that people lose, that you can't win, they are gamed. And of course, the most vulnerable in our community are affected by this, with billions of dollars coming out of the pockets of problem gamblers causing untold social harm. So we're on the verge of a new campaign to create public awareness, to try and get political momentum to reform poker machines in this country, which are a scourge on our communities.
Yeah, you mentioned political momentum. What are your chances of that?
Very difficult at the moment. Again, both sides of politics are beholden to the poker machine industry through the clubs and pubs which donate a lot of money to their parties. So the only way we can convince politics is to convince the public that these machines are incredibly harmful, which this documentary Ka-Ching this week showed. And I was privileged to be part of the media launch in Melbourne this week of the Alliance for Gambling Reform. We're very committed to continuing this fight, and it's a case of winning public support to put pressure on the politicians to stop accepting the money from the gambling industry and then to reform these poker machines which are causing so much harm.
Yeah, well, it's an issue certainly worth keeping an eye on. Thanks so much for your time this week, Lyle.
Pleasure, Kent. Thanks for having us.
And now we go to Food in Focus.
Yeah, Sue, that's an ugly slug of a sweet potato, don't you reckon, folks? It's called ugly food, and this movement started where?
It started in France, James.
Does anyone buy this?
Absolutely, they do now.
Yeah.
It actually started back in 2014.
Okay.
A supermarket called Intermarché launched a movement called Inglorious Fruit and Vegetables.
Inglorious.
And
Why?
it was because in 2014 the EC decided to call that year the year to reduce food waste.
Oh, so how much food is wasted before it reaches supermarkets?
On average, at least about 25% is wasted before it even gets out of the farm gate. So it's a lot of waste, which sometimes, goes into making fruit juice or, you know, maybe for stock feed. Sometimes it's given away, but mostly it's just dumped.
Okay.
So it's a huge waste of resources.
Okay,
like
so if I reach
water.
this great big eggplant, it normally would not be sold because it's got, some creases and bumps and...
Yeah, things can have warts and bumps, or maybe they're just not the right colour. Oranges might be quite pale looking. But the key message, James, is they taste just as good and they're just as good for you, nutrition-wise. And you can often save between 30 to 50% of the cost. So that's got to be a bonus for families.
So when I go to the supermarket, I'm looking for something completely unblemished, that's smooth as anything. You just think it's better for you.
Well, that's right. This is what's happened, and we don't actually know what started it all. The supermarkets tend to blame the customers, and they say, look, the customers won't buy anything unless it looks perfectly shaped and the perfect colour. But, you know, some people blame TV shows, such as cooking shows, because they're so focused on presentation rather than being focused on the freshness. But what we found is, through some recent research, is people will buy it if they know it's just as good for them and it's going to save them money. But half of the people in Australia, for example, haven't yet sought out these foods.
I've never heard of it again until I heard you.
Well, major chains like Woolworths in Australia, for example, and Harris Farm have sections, such as the ugly bunch or imperfect picks. So you just need to look for that section of the market, and you're going to save yourself money and help to reduce food waste.
How much would you save if you went to the ugly food section of the supermarket?
Well, on average, it's about 30% less.
30%?
Yeah. And what's interesting to me, James, is, you know, only 10 years ago, foods that now are classed as seconds used to be first grade.
Oh.
So this is what I mean by these specifications in supermarkets having become so high that, you know, 25% of what's grown isn't brought into the supermarket to be sold because they think people won't buy it.
That's a lot of food,
Yeah,
Dawn.
but what happened in France was, when they launched this campaign, not only did it increase traffic into their supermarket by 24%, it launched this huge worldwide movement. They got massive media attention, and so we've got, you know, the major chains in the UK, from Sainsbury's to Waitrose to Tesco's, and even in Canada, Loblaws have all started to embrace this movement, and luckily in Australia we're also embracing it.
That's amazing. My sceptic's question was, aren't the supermarkets going to lose money, but more people are shopping there?
Well, they're going to sell something that otherwise wasn't able to be sold. And I think the last point we need to remember is, you know, if we all grew up on the farm, we would be more likely to accept any oddly shaped fruit or vegetable. But when we grow up in the city or live in the city, we don't have the same appreciation for what it takes. So I think we need to embrace this. We need to help do our part to reduce food waste, help farmers get more for their efforts, and at the same time, we'll save money for the family.
Okay, well, let's look at this pimply pear. We were trying to think of a name for this with its nice little leaf. It's still got an old leaf.
Yes,
got some humps and bumps, and you reckon it's nutritious?
Yes, absolutely. Some of them have the quirkiest names you'll ever hear, such as Lively Lemons.
Now, which section would you go to in Woolies?
Well, they have special sections, and they will actually label that this fruit is not their supposed first grade. But as I say, it's just as nutritious and just as tasty, and you're going to save money at the same time.
You know I'm going to test this out, don't you? Folks, here we go, the pimply pear.
It's just as good.
We're trying.
Surprise, surprise.
Unearth ancient civilizations with archaeological diggings. This bi-monthly magazine will keep you up to date with news and insights from the fascinating world of archaeology. Subscribe online or ask for archaeological diggings at your newsagent.
Hi, welcome back. Well, we hear a lot in this program from Sue Rad about how your diet and the food you choose can make such an incredibly positive difference in your life and to your health. But who I've got here today is Dr. Darren Morton from the Lifestyle Research Centre, and you're here to tell us, Darren, that there's a bit more to it than food, although food is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone, and there's such good information out there, and I think that the likes of Sue is making some fantastic inroads, communicating the importance of positive nutrition for a healthy lifestyle. But what we're discovering is that it's more than just food. There's actually many elements that contribute to these this plethora of chronic diseases that we're witnessing in our society today.
What diabetes?
We're talking
obesity.
about type 2 diabetes, obesity, obviously, heart disease, and many of these other conditions that like even things like osteoporosis and some of these more eclectic conditions, chronic pain now we're starting to see emerge, which is a real concern. But yes, so food...
Even mental health, is it right?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Now, food can play a really big part. In fact, the adage now, we talk about lifestyle as medicine. Yep. And in fact, there's this new wave coming forward where, we talk about lifestyle medicine. There's now the Australasian Lifestyle Medicine Association. There's the American College of Lifestyle Medicine.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is a really exciting thing because what we're discovering is that when you apply therapeutic lifestyle change, and food is just part of that. We are getting to the other parts in just a moment. But when you apply therapeutic lifestyle change to people, even that have these established conditions, often that treatment can be very, very effective for managing
Okay.
And in some instances, this is where it gets really exciting, some instances even treating these conditions.
Wow. So it's not simply a matter of, hey, live a healthy lifestyle and avoid all these problems.
Yes.
It can also be live a healthy lifestyle and actually maybe even reduce problems you're already struggling
Absolutely.
with.
And like you say, for many years, I mean, we've got a lot of data now that actually indicates that if you live this way, you can live longer. If you practice positive lifestyle choices.
I mean, the Blue Zones research a few years ago, Dan Buettner in the National Geographic, there are places in the world where people live a certain way, where they live, to 100 years and even beyond.
And even beyond. And so, we know, for example, that the studies show very clearly that probably over 80% of heart attacks are preventable through healthy lifestyle choices.
Okay.
Over 90% of type 2 diabetes is preventable through healthy lifestyle choices. Probably a third or more of cancers are preventable through healthy lifestyle choices. But what we've got is this new research coming through, which I find tremendously exciting. That if you apply and actually, when people have these conditions already, practice these healthy lifestyles in quite an intense way, and you can manage, and as I said, in some instances even treat, reverse these conditions. And I'm involved in a program called CHIP, which is the Complete Health Improvement Program.
Yep.
Operates in now 10 countries around the world.
Oh, wow.
And we consistently see stories of people coming into the program and managing or sometimes even reversing their conditions. I think I was just at a CHIP get-together with a group of people last night, and there was a guy by the name of Darren, really nice guy despite the name. He was almost ready for dialysis, kidney dialysis.
Wow.
And this is almost unheard of, but within the space of several months, he actually has restored his kidney function essentially back to normal.
Wow.
He's off all his diabetes medication. He's off his cholesterol medication. He's off his blood pressure medication.
This is in consultation with
his doctor,
with
obviously.
His doctor?
In fact, his doctor, he just 2 weeks into the program, he went to his doctor and he said, "I'm not feeling so good. I'm feeling a bit dizzy." The doctor checks his blood pressure. His blood pressure's too low. Because he's on the medication, so the doctor had to actually take him off the medication to restore it back to normal.
Far out.
So it's very powerful.
Now, Darren, I understand you're a pretty active guy. I remember when I studied at Avondale College, which is where the Lifestyle Research Centre is based.
Yes.
You were well known for getting around in shorts and basically running across the campus, from home to various classes.
Yes.
And this is one of the ways that you actually built an active lifestyle into your everyday work.
Yeah.
I mean, is that an important thing to do?
Oh, absolutely. So, we talked about those components of, what it constitutes a healthy lifestyle. Nutrition's one of them. Physical activity is obviously another key one. And, what I want to say about physical activity is that you don't have to go nuts with it to get incredible benefits.
And let me just stop you there, Darren, because Darren knows what it means to go nuts, because he's the current Gloucester Mountain Man champion, which is, how long is that run, that race?
It's like an adventure race. There's a mountain bike, paddle and then run.
So sort of a triathlon.
Yeah, an off-road
sort of
triathlon.
Event.
Yeah.
Wow. So here they go. Mountain Man speaking. Listen up. Sorry, keep going. I interrupted.
But the point is that we know that if people just engage in, say, 30 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity a day...
and which means enough to get you puffed?
Well, no, it's not. It's enough that we could still talk while we're doing it.
Oh, wow.
So it's not, gripping your chest,
so it's a brisk walk probably for most of us.
Well, for some people it's not even that. For some it would just be a moderate pace walk. If that's enough to notice that, this would be a 3 to 4 out of 10 in effort for me, then that's moderate intensity.
Wow.
30 minutes of that a day has a profound effect on people's well-being.
Wow.
We know that. The research consistently shows that. So, nutrition's important, physical activity is important, but there are a host of other things too. We know, for example, psychological stress. Very, very important. There's studies now coming through which are, revealing incredible things. They take dental students and they'll take, this sounds a bit sadistic, but they take dental students and to the top of their hard palate in their mouth, they give them a little blister wound.
Okay.
They do it once just before exam period, and then they do it again in their summer vacation.
Okay.
So stress.
So when they're stressed in exams and when they're relaxed in their holidays. Okay.
And you know what happens? Those wounds take about 40% longer to heal in the stress-filled time of the exam period.
Wow.
So we know that how you feel in a very real way affects how you heal.
Yeah.
So there's psychological stress. That's another important component of managing a healthy lifestyle. We know that social connectedness You know, this is this ability for people to experience, to give and receive love
have
in
a
their
sense
life.
of belonging and
have a sense of belonging, a sense of meaning, a sense of identity.
And be helped. Yeah.
We actually, some studies actually indicate that factor is as important as not smoking.
Wow.
So having, you know,
in terms of preventing
absolutely.
lifestyle disease.
Which leads us on to some of the others. You know, there's nutrition, physical activity, stress, social connectedness, substance use, obviously, and we're talking here about smoking and the like. We know that inadequate rest is very important. This is underrated, you know, in our society. I'm talking about sleep there, but I'm also talking about work-life balance. You know, and you know, our church has the concept of Sabbath, you know, a day off a week. That is profound. You know, that this is there, and it's interesting. These things that we talk about, there's biblical wisdom embedded in, you know, all of them essentially.
Wow.
And the last thing we don't have time to talk about, but is environmental factors.
Yeah.
You know, it's pure air, about sunlight. It's about engaging with nature. We now know in kids that don't do that, there's a condition we call it NDD, which is nature deficit disorder.
NDD.
You know, we know these kids have high chance of, you know, chronic diseases, socialisation problems, learning difficulties.
Wow. And just getting outside, having some green time, they call it sometimes,
they do.
They
Absolutely.
can make a heck of a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible, Darren. And I understand that at Avondale College of Higher Education, you're actually putting together, a postgraduate
courses in
lifestyle medicine?
This to me is the new frontier of healthcare.
Yeah.
You know, most people today are suffering or dying from chronic diseases. And so what's the remedy? Well, we've got to go back to the causes. And the causes are poor lifestyle. And so we actually have launched just this semester at Avondale a graduate diploma in lifestyle medicine. We're really, really excited about it. You know, I believe you know, we're trying to play a central role in championing this cause, and I think God sort of is giving it His blessing.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, thanks so much, Darren. I really appreciate your time today and sharing some of that stuff with us. It's incredible.
Thank you.
We'll be back straight after the break.
Planning your future can be a daunting task. What you want to do, who you want to be, and the road ahead can often be unpredictable. No one really knows what the future holds. Avondale. It's education designed for life.
Hey, thanks so much for watching Record in Focus this week. If you've missed part of the program or you'd like to share a segment with a friend or just watch it again, check out our website. All the videos from this week and previous weeks are waiting there.
And that website is right there on your screen, record.net.au. We hope you're feeling better informed and maybe even a little inspired by at least one thing you saw on the program today. God willing, we'll see you next time on Record in Focus.
All the best.